You know, most people come back their holidays with soft or blurry photographs, and the worst thing is they don't know why. But if you give me 10 seconds, I'll give you a checklist to make sure that it no longer happens to you, because when you've got scenery like this, you really don't want to waste it. And remember, nearly sharp, well, that isn't sharp enough. Now, the fix for this is super simple. Before every single photograph that I take, I think of the word snap. And that's basically my shutter speed, narrowing my focus, my aperture, and then proving that I got the shot. Now, knowing the word snap isn't going to solve all your problems. It's about knowing which step to use in the sequence of you taking your photograph, because many different situations can break your focus in many different ways. Now, all the photographs you're going to see today were taken here on the beautiful island of Madeira, and I didn't want to ruin them because I've spent a lot of money and a lot of time coming here, and there would be nothing worse than getting home and realising that all my photographs were of no use. So let's crack on and look at the first step. Okay, so let's start with S, shutter speed. And the reason that one's up front is, in my opinion, it's the most important, because if you get the shutter speed wrong, it doesn't matter if you get everything else right in camera, the photograph won't turn out the way you want, i.e. sharp. Because when you're looking at the back of an LCD screen, it's tiny, it might be sunny, and it might look good to you, but by the time you get it home, you put it on the computer, that's when you realise it's not sharp enough. Now, when you're out in the field and you're taking your photographs, if you're just looking at the back of the LCD screen, it might appear to be sharp enough, but by the time you get it home, you put it up in the computer, that's when you realise the detail just isn't there. And that's what I meant earlier by nearly sharp isn't sharp enough. So in these examples, you can see exactly what I mean. If your shutter speed is too slow and you've got things in the scene that are moving like people or cars, that's when you start to notice the blur. And if you get it really wrong, that's when you either fall into the realms of being artistic or just looking amateurish. So again, understanding what shutter speed to use is vitally important. In this image here, you can see that my shutter speed was almost right, but when you zoom in on the detail, it's just not pin sharp. But then, as soon as I managed to get my shutter speed absolutely spot on, you can see the difference in the sharpness in this image here. So understanding shutter speed is really the key or the cornerstone to getting this right and getting sharp images. So remember, it's not just about having things in your scene that are moving too, it's, are you moving? Are you handheld? Is it a windy day? Are you using a longer focal range? Because that introduces blur if the camera's moving about. So again, by setting the correct shutter speed for that, you manage to sharpen up your images. So just to recap, when it comes to softness in your photographs due to motion, it's not because of your lens and it's not because of where you chose to focus, it's because you didn't have the shutter speed correct for that situation in front of you. And that is why we put it up front, and the S of snap is shutter speed. Next, we'll look at narrowing our focus, and this one's very straightforward. Your camera's autofocus is really good at helping you focus on what it is you're trying to achieve. And there's different methods in your autofocus. Now, I'm not going to dive too deep into that because I've got a video coming up that's going to look specifically at that. But basically, you can aim at a wide area and the camera will look at everything and try and pick out from that whole scene what it is it thinks you want to be in focus. But that becomes more tricky when the scene is a little bit more intricate. So as you can see here, I've got a nice photograph of a hotel that I want to be pin sharp, and I'm shooting at about f2.8 because I want the surrounding bushes and trees to go nice and soft so it draws your eye right into the hotel. But the issue is that when I set it with a wide autofocus setting, it doesn't know whether it's the tree, whether it's the hotel, or whether it's the bush that I'm trying to look at. And when I'm in the field, when I press the shutter button, you can see in this image here, it picked the tree. And then in this image, it picked the bush. So what do? When we go into our autofocus settings, we can choose to narrow the point of focus that the autofocus is going to look at. So in this set of images, I've went slightly narrower than the big wide one. And again, it struggled and it picked the tree on a couple of occasions. So to get around this, what we do is we narrow the focus as tightly as we can, and that's usually using 1 point. So when you select the 1 point, you get a tiny little square in the screen, you position it over the hotel, and boom, this is the image that I get at that point. So again, the step 2 is to narrow your focus as tightly as it needs to be. Now, just to say, That doesn't mean to say you always have to have it on that. Sometimes the wide focus comes in really useful, and in this image here you can see the big rock is really the only thing on the screen apart from the tiny seagull, and it knew exactly what to focus on, and when my camera was moving about it stayed locked onto that. So remember, try and narrow your focus down as tightly as you can get it. Get the small square on the screen, use a joystick or whatever it is on your camera to position it over the thing that you want to be in focus, and it should eradicate tons of mistakes. If you're enjoying this video and you'd like to delve a little bit deeper into this topic, I've written a second ebook, and this is all about how to get sharp photographs. It goes into real depth about all the different things from autofocus, from selecting what to focus on, whether you actually want it to be in focus. There's a ton of resource in there, and it works really nicely alongside the composition ebook that I wrote several months ago. And if you want to pick up both and get yourself a leg up when it comes to starting photography, there is a discount if you bundle them together. So the link is in the description, and I thank you for any support you can give me. So let's move on to A. A is aperture. And aperture can be quite confusing because in and of itself, that's not really a sharpness setting. It's more choosing how much of the image you want to be sharp. Now, if you're a landscape photographer and you want to try and get things sharp from front to back, then the wider the aperture that you've got, the harder that becomes. So that's why you see most landscape photographers shoot somewhere between f8, f11 and sometimes above. I personally, as you know if you've watched this channel, like to shoot a little bit more wide open because I like a soft foreground and I like a soft background, and that's all down to the choice of aperture. I'll throw some photographs up on the screen just now so you can see exactly what the effect of that has. But again, if we've done the sharpness correctly, we've narrowed our focus, we can now choose an artistic element with our aperture to get the photograph to look the way we saw it in our head. So whether you like a photograph to be sharp from front to back, or you like a more stylistic sort of approach to it with a softer foreground and a softer background, that's entirely your decision. But if you start to experiment with it, it does start to give you a lot more kind of fun when you're out taking your photographs. And I've went from wanting front to back sharpness to being a little bit more experimental with mine. But another thing to remember is light and how much light the aperture lets into the camera. If you want something sharp from front to back and it's early in the morning and you're shooting at f11, then there's a good chance that you're going to have to start bumping your ISO up. But that's absolutely fine, because we should never be scared of using the ISO, because that's what it's there for. So in a nutshell, aperture, artistic choice, and then you can set how much of the photograph you want to be in focus. So on to the final one, and that is P, and that's for proof. We want to get proof while we're out in the field that the image has worked and we got sharpness where we expected to get sharpness. And the easiest way to do that is to check your image on the back of the camera or using your viewfinder. I would recommend using the viewfinder, and you zoom in to check the key components of the photograph to make sure they're absolutely spot on. Because again, when you're looking at the back of that camera, it might just look okay. It's not till you start to look at the details whether you see how soft or blurry it actually is. And the thing about shutter speed is, going back to the start, shutter speed is one of those things that if you get it nearly right, it will look good on the back of the camera. It's not until you examine it that you start to see where the weaknesses are. A great way to think about it is proof catches everything. Sharpness issues, shutter speed issues, aperture issues, missed focus issues. You can check all of that while you're in the field, and if any of it's wrong, you get to change your settings, take the photograph again, instead of being sitting at home with a cup of coffee, pulling your hair out because you've travelled so far to go and waste that day. Now, some people have an issue with this and try not to do it, checking their images after every single shot, and I'm not encouraging you to do that. It's really just to make sure that you've got your settings correct. You can check the first 1 or 2 shots, and if everything's looking spot on, then you can trust the camera most of the time to do its job. It's really just a calibration setting to make sure you're in the right zone and you can enjoy your photography without actually worrying about your settings. So get into the habit of doing it. Make sure you've went through the shutter speed, narrowing your focus, your aperture, you're proving things on the back of the camera. And to speed the process up even further, don't look at the whole image. Yeah, you can start falling into the trap of checking the edges of your frame to make sure there's no branches kind of creeping in. But really what you're trying to do is just zoom in on the absolutely essential part of the photograph that needs to be sharp. If you've nailed it, great. It's time to move on. So I promise you, it's not about pixel peeping. It's just about checking and reassuring yourself that the camera's behaving the way you want it to. And I promise you, this step alone will eradicate the majority of your soft and blurry photographs, unless it would be shutter speed. Maybe they're equally important. So there you go, guys. That's how easy it is. Just follow the snap process and I guarantee you the number of sharp photographs that you get will increase dramatically. Now, I know it might seem like there's a lot to do and a lot of steps to follow, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes and the more natural it feels. Now, in the next video, we're going to go on to the last step of the whole sharpness issue, and that's how to control your autofocus. And if I've made that video, it'll be up here somewhere. And if it isn't, I'll put up the video that started this whole series. And if you haven't watched that, then I would recommend you give it a go. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. It's pretty special, isn't it?